So the dust settles from the Misfits boxing event over the weekend. What did we think about it? Well, there's a few issues to discuss. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. I hope you're all well. So if you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So Misfits boxing this weekend, the fallout as it were. I was one of the unfortunate one, or the million unfortunate people out there who paid the £20 to watch that dross, and it was real dross. Now let's be honest. You pay the £20 pay-per-view because you want to watch what goes on between Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis and KSI against Tommy Fury. The two headline fights, two main event fights, were absolutely diabolically poor. Now, some of the fights beforehand, you can say, well, yeah, they are where they are. They are just lads and girls just getting into the boxing ring, and yeah, they're influencers, they're YouTubers, they're like me, a much younger version of me, of course, but they're just like me. They're just getting in the ring and just trying to better themselves and improve themselves in a boxing sense, but just having a go, and fair play to them. There's no issues with that at all. But during the commentary, KSI's manager, Mams Taylor, who's also, part of the equation here on Misfits, of course, it's their baby, he's getting on the commentary team. They're getting on the commentary team and say, well, actually, why are you getting on the commentary team? Let somebody else be the commentators. You just do your stuff behind the scenes, and let somebody who knows a bit about boxing, first of all, get on the commentary team or have them as a guest. But no, you've done this for the last 2 or 3 Misfits now. But during the Anthony Taylor fight, you were actually saying, and along with the co-commentators, was actually saying, well, Misfits is about, influencers and everything, but it's also about entertainment. You want to entertain. And this is where you kind of started to slate off Anthony Taylor for his fight against King Kenny, to say, well, actually, you know what? This is not really entertaining. This is not what this is about. You're not really selling the fight. You're not really selling the Misfits experience. So I get that, because it was a bit of a poor fight as well, and it kind of messed up the whole experience for anybody who really wanted to watch that fight. But the other couple of fights that came on afterwards, the Waleed Sharks against Dean the Great, yeah, they are at a level, no doubt, in terms of boxing terms, but they put on a decent performance. Slim against Salt Pappy, again, they're at a lower level, but you can tell that, hey, listen, they put on a decent performance, and they were two good fights to watch. But everything else was really poor quality. So Mams Taylor in himself and the whole Misfits team, the ethos is to say, we want entertainment, we want bangers, we want entertainment. But you're not delivering it. So you're slating off Anthony Taylor for not really having a great performance, not a great show there. But then you're putting on 2 fights later on, Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis, and KSI against Tommy Fury, which was just, they were the worst experience ever. So here's the issue here. You want to have bangers, you want to have great performances, but then your man, KSI, adopts tactics to not even allow boxing events to take place. That's why it was so bad. Tommy Fury is at a level. He's a novice pro boxer. So he's not at any great level, but you're not enabling any kind of entertainment because you're employing tactics, or your boy is employing tactics here to stop the fight. You're going to have one little jab, big overhand right, and then you're going to cling on for dear life. That's why Tommy Fury didn't have the tools in the box to sidestep that, see that coming, and put KSI away early. If he reruns that fight again, better footwork, better jab work, having a jab, having some kind of footwork would have put KSI away straight away. And that's why it's such a poor fight. Logan Paul against Dylan Dennis. At least Logan Paul tried to hit Dylan Dennis, but he was just closed up like a clam. He didn't really want to come for the fight. He was just trying to get to the end. It was such a poor fight, such a poor spectacle. And that's what you're paying for. I get it. You want to bring the entertainment, but you're not bringing entertainment. You're just bringing nonsense fights here. Now, what was really telling about that fight was that Logan Paul come with lots of security. The referee didn't have a great day either, but Logan Paul was winning that fight clearly. Got to the final round, then Dylan Dennis started doing some shenanigans, tried to wrestle, tried to guillotine him, and God knows whatever else he tried to do. But then the referee didn't step in. The referee was ineffective. I was counting down the clock. Actually, the time was up. The bell should have rang. Went on for another 7 or 8 seconds before anything was going to happen. Then Dylan Dennis was basically trying to do what he was going to do, and then all of a sudden the security jumped into the ring. That should never have been allowed. Misfits cannot allow this to happen ever again. They cannot allow security just to get into a ring. What the hell's going on? If your man gets into the ring, you've got to be dealt with by the referee, not by security who's going to protect him. What's the point in even getting into the ring? If you're worried about your fighter's safety in that ring, you should never be allowed in the ring in the first place, regardless of what you think the other opponent is going to do. If you feel that other opponent is going to do that kind of thing, then they shouldn't be allowed in the ring either. So Misfits have got a real problem here. They've got a real problem with identity, and also about what they do going forward, who they engage in the fights, who they employ to participate in these events, and what actually happens, what kind of entertainment they bring. That's one aspect of it. They really don't know what is entertaining. I don't know what level they want to be at. But the next thing is overwhelming delusion and the overhyping of these participants. That's all you can say they are. They're participants in an activity with boxing gloves on, because for the most part that's what it is. Now you can defend it all you like in terms of it's only levels, it's influencer boxing and everything, and that's exactly the way it should be. And this is why a lot of pro boxers are really kind of getting really frustrated with this and say, well, this is not boxing, this is not professional boxing. You cannot even entertain this as any kind of boxing experience. But here's the second major issue, is that some of these fighters in the Misfits world, the influencer boxing world, some of these participants I should say, just like Dean the Great did after his win over Waleed Sharks, whilst it was a decent watch, entertaining watch, afterwards he's coming out and calling out Gervonta Davis, world championship boxer, world level boxer. And this is the real issue here. All of a sudden you've got kids in there who are totally delusional, who think that they're getting wins and they think they're at such a high level that they can take on a proper pro boxer and a boxer at a certain level, even a regional champion, a national champion, a European champion in our case, or a world champion. If they get into the ring with one of those guys or girls, they're going to get severely hurt. So they cannot ever allow this to happen. So you've got to stop trying to hype it and sort of stop promoting that kind of engagement. Somebody's going to get really hurt here, or even worse, because they think they're getting into certain fights and they think, okay, what, KSI is getting in with a pro boxer, I should be able to get in with a pro boxer. The problem is, we say that Tommy Fury is a low-level novice, and really he should have carried on with his boxing training. By contrast, if you look at Vidal Riley, for example, who stayed away from the influencer boxing participation, although he commentates on it and he's, you know, an influencer in his own right, he's actually a legitimate pro boxer. If you put one of these guys in with Vidal Riley, they're going to be found out pretty quickly. So you've got to stop the delusion here of letting these guys think and say whatever they want and calling out proper boxers. The flip side of this is that the money that's involved in this now and how it's attracting professional fighters into this domain. You got Mike Perry there on standby. Mike Perry is a killer. If Dylan Dennis didn't show up for the fight, what, you can put Mike Perry in with Logan Paul? He would absolutely eat him alive. So then it's not going to be a proper fight because there's a real risk there. So then it's just going to be an exhibition fight. The exhibition, so what's the point in even watching that? What's the point in even putting that on? Because it's a really low level stuff, exhibition stuff. There's no point in watching it. So then you're getting other guys coming in, just like Darren Till did over the weekend, an MMA fighter who's been taking some boxing classes recently. Yeah, he's an animal, he's a killer. What that, you know, and he even said, yeah, this is all rubbish, or, you know, words to that effect, this is all rubbish. Do you know what? Get in there, I'd put everybody away. He would put everybody away. So then he's squaring off against Mike Perry in a kind of joking way afterwards and saying, no, let's put it on, let's come in and put it on, because they're trying to follow the money. This is where a lot of the resentment is coming from the boxing world and the MMA world, to say, well, actually, you know, we're proper fighters, but we're not getting anywhere near this money. And they kind of miss the trick here. They don't understand this is influencer boxing. This is kind of celebrity boxing rather than actual boxers, actual fighters who can box, who can fight. And you're getting killers that could come into this arena. And this is a real issue. This is a real issue that you could, if you're not careful, Misfits and MAMS and KSI, start attracting a load of people who have no business being in this domain because they're just too good. And they just wipe the floor with everybody. You've also got lots of people who've come into this domain and possibly attracted to it with delusions of grandeur, thinking that they could just go out there and just call out anybody. So there are levels here, and these levels have to be clearly defined. And the organisers, Misfits, they're on a very sticky wicket here because they really need to focus on the entertainment and the level at which they're at, and not trying to promote it and make it into something that clearly isn't. They also have a big issue in terms of the way it's organised from a safety point of view, from the refereeing, from the medical, and also what happens in the build-up, and also during the event itself. Because if you've got another situation like this going on, what happened the last weekend, you're going to have some big problems. You're going to have some big problems in and around the ring, and probably you're going to have big problems in the arena itself. If I could get my money back, from the event, I would, because I was just watching it from an interesting point of view. But there's been some other people who come out now and just saying how really bad it was. But I just wanted to make this point that from an organisational point of view, Misfits got it completely wrong. They don't know which way they want to promote it. One hand, they're slating off Anthony Taylor, saying it wasn't entertaining. But then you got two main card events that just wasn't entertaining at all. In fact, it was terrible. And they're architects of their own downfall here. And in the case of Tommy Fury and KSI, I was just like, KSI saying we're robbed. No, we weren't robbed. It was a scrappy, horrible fight that it was really hard to pick either way. But now transpires that one of the judges' cards was added up incorrectly, and it was a unanimous decision for Tommy Fury, who won it. Anybody who knows boxing would say, actually, it was a terrible fight. He couldn't get into his rhythm. He couldn't pick him off because he's inexperienced. He was trying to come forward and put pressure and score points wherever he could. He just wasn't experienced enough or talented enough to overcome the terrible fighting style from KSI. That's the truth of it. This is not to say that they weren't brave getting in the ring, and credit to both of them, and credit to everybody who's got into the ring and thrown a few punches. But again, we've got to explain what actually happened. It wasn't robbery. It was close because it was so messy. And the reason it was so close in the KSI Tommy Fury fight was because KSI kept on hanging on. There was nothing to go on. And in a professional fight and a professional council, KSI would have been penalised for that. He may have even been disqualified for that as well. So we need to understand what boxing is. You actually need to understand what these levels are. And my advice to Tommy Fury would be to get out of Misfits completely, get back to proper boxing. The problem is that he's so far behind in pro levels, and the money that's involved in Misfits and influencer boxing, all these boxing events that he could have with Logan Paul, Jake Paul, so on and so forth, maybe Conor McGregor, this kind of thing, all of a sudden it makes it too good to pass up, and that's the real issue. And that's what's attracting lots of pro fighters, proper killers out there who would do some serious damage. So this is where they have to watch out for themselves, Misfits. Anyway, listen, this has been On Me Head, Son. Reaction to Misfits, lots to digest, lots to go through. Let us know your thoughts. But anyway, if you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share, subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell, and I'll catch you on another reaction video coming very soon. Ta-da.